Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to another Mental Health Warriors show, I should say. I'm just going to wait for a few people to arrive. But as you know, I'm Claire Wilding, the Reboot Catalyst. I'm stepping in for the lovely Adam today because unfortunately Adam isn't feeling particularly well. So I'm glad to have had the honour of being able to do that. And I'm graced with the presence today of the lovely Jenny Ford, who's going to be speaking to us about her wonderful powers and her wonderful, creative projects that she has going at the moment that are really, really helping people to come out of their shell a lot more. And another way of communicating how we ultimately feel, which is fantastic, I think. So we'll see you very shortly on the show. And yeah, hope you all have a fantastic day and enjoy it. Oh, there we are. Hello, Jenny. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Claire. Thank you for having
Hello.
me.
That's all right. It's a total pleasure. Would you like to give us a little bit of a gist around what it is that you do, please? That would be wonderful.
Okay, so I'm an author, a creative healer, and inspirational writer, and I write fiction, non-fiction, children's books, multi-genre really. Um, and the theme, I guess, around all of my writing is, as I say, inspiration, positivity, and I guess words of encouragement and
Yeah.
just helping people along their journey, really.
Do you know what? That's wonderful. It's wonderful to have a niche or a platform where you feel like, you're able to really pass on that message
Yeah.
to others, isn't it? And I think
Yeah.
writing's we were saying before, writing's a very cathartic way
Mm.
of expressing ourselves, isn't it?
Oh,
Sometimes,
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
sometimes it can be quite difficult for us to verbalize how we feel, but
Mm.
if you write it down, suddenly it just flows, doesn't it? Sometimes.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I always say. As an author, I know how powerful and empowering the written word can be.
Yeah,
And as you just said, it really does help a lot of people
yeah,
to release their thoughts and their feelings.
yeah.
You know, so that's I've just not long launched an online course to help people do that.
Cool.
Um, yeah. So
Yeah, I know you mentioned it to me before. Could you tell us a little bit more about what that entails?
yeah, well, the online course, it's called Right to Release, A Journey Through the Rainbow.
I
Now,
love that.
I created this course, quite a long time ago, actually, and never really done anything with it. And it's
Mm,
only been recently that I suppose I was more divinely guided, if you like, to actually
yeah.
get it out now. Because I think, we've all been through a rotten few years,
Mm,
and it's had a huge effect on people's mental well-being and everything. And it just seemed like
and
a
just
good
seems like
time
a good
now
time now
to get that out. So basically, the course takes you through visualization and
mm,
expressive writing, and it's to help people to release their thoughts and their feelings, but in a safe, healthy, safe, positive way.
yeah.
Because I know sort of like when feelings build up and build up and build up, it can then explode, and probably not in the right way.
Yeah,
So
I'd agree with that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this way, I thought people can do this. Obviously, it's in the privacy of their own home and everything. So
Yeah.
nobody's going to see, you know, them writing what they want to write or anything, but it gives you that freedom. It gives you that
Yeah.
freedom to actually write down absolutely everything you've always wanted to say. If you've been held back or too afraid to speak your truth, and to be open and honest with yourself,
Mm.
about how you're feeling. Now, as I
Yeah.
always say, and I will continue to always say, when people are going through difficult times, adversity and everything, always talk to somebody. Always
Mm.
talk to somebody. Um, but I also know there's a lot of people who find that really difficult to do and really
Yeah.
challenging. So this is just an alternative, um, to help people to release, what they're feeling, and their emotions, and everything. But as I say, in a healthy, positive way.
It is, and
Um,
so beautifully put as well, because I know the benefits of writing as well, because
mm,
I've often been someone to kind of blog or journal or write little pieces, excuse me, that um, every so often have just helped me in that moment.
mm,
And it could be simply writing down, you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, you're feeling a little bit
mm.
stressed. But if the moment that you get it all down on paper, it feels like a weight's been lifted almost.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
and it feels like you've gotten it out somehow and you've
Mm,
put it somewhere physical.
yeah.
So I always lose my voice on these things. So
Yeah, you're absolutely right there. It really is a good way of
yeah,
doing that, sort of,
yeah,
if you've got a journal, or you keep a diary or something like that, sort of like, just to keep writing down your thoughts and your feelings.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Sort of, I mean, I've been through adversity myself, and
Mm,
this is how it's helped me. Um,
mm,
and I always say, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a counselor or anything like that. I'm just going through experience, and
yeah,
I'm just
definitely.
giving the tools that help me,
Yeah, from a
which is
personal
through,
perspective, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, which is through
Yeah,
visualization, which is through meditation. So on the
I
course,
love
you'll see that I
meditation
do I
myself.
do guided meditations on the course,
That's great.
and then I give exercises, writing exercises for people to
Yeah,
do. And yeah, and it takes you through a journey of the rainbow, so
I love
really.
that. Even just hearing a journey of the
Mm,
rainbow, it sounds so magical,
yeah,
doesn't
it
it?
is. It is
Yeah,
magical because you're free to release whatever you want through that rainbow, and each step that you go
yeah,
through the rainbow, you get to the other side and you feel that a whole weight has lifted. You feel lighter, you
beautiful.
feel, um, more empowered, and then you go
Yeah,
into the writing exercises as well, which is your sort of your last part of your journey, if you like, which is where you are free to, as I say, write everything down you've always wanted to say.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
imagine that person is sitting in front of you, or that situation is in front of you, and you really want to tell them what they've done to you, how you're feeling.
we've all
Um,
been in situations like that.
Absolutely,
But yeah,
absolutely. But obviously, you're not saying it to them personally. You're just writing it all down. So you're free to just do whatever you want on that paper and write whatever you want.
mm,
Nobody's going to see it. It's for your eyes only.
mm,
Nobody is going to see it unless you want them to, of course. And then we go through on there another little ritual that you can do to actually release that and let it all go as well.
it's amazing.
So
My
yeah,
my
it's.
question,
Hmm.
sorry, Jenny, to stop you. My question would be, does each colour of the rainbow apply to a different stage of the process?
Well, what I say in this course is that that rainbow is your rainbow. So you can
Okay.
have whatever colors you want in that rainbow.
Yeah,
Doesn't have to be the typical colors. It can be whatever color you want it to be. And then you can release whatever it is you want in those particular colors.
that's
Yeah,
cool.
as you
Oh,
as you continue over the rainbow.
I'm just
So
loving
yeah.
listening to you talking about this as well. You've got such a relaxing voice.
Oh, thank you.
Like, it's making me feel quite at ease and quite like, oh, I could do this with it. I could do that with it.
Well,
Creative, isn't it?
I believe that, it will help. I honestly,
Yeah, it
truly
sounds like
believe
it.
that it will help people, even if it's just by giving that, that bit of lifting, or
Yeah, yeah,
making them
definitely.
feel that little bit lighter in themselves, or, sort of making their heart feel, you know, more alive. Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean? It's sort of like
like it's
it will
singing.
help in some way.
It sounds
You
like it will
know,
help a lot.
it will help
Yeah,
in some way, and especially when you get into the writing part of it.
yeah, it's brilliant.
That's probably the most important part, is actually the actual writing side of stuff, because that's
Yeah.
when you're actually releasing. I mean, through the
Mm.
rainbow, you're releasing visually,
Hmm.
but with the writing exercises, you're actually releasing through expressive writing.
Yeah,
So
that's great.
yeah, yeah.
So, just out of interest, Jenny, where can people find this wonderful course of yours?
Well, it's not actually been put on my website at the moment, but I will leave the link anyway,
Okay.
so that you can access that, and I
Yeah,
should
yeah,
leave
that's
the link
great.
to my website and everything as well.
That'd be fantastic. 'Cause I really think um, people will, be inclined to ask you more about it and
Of course,
hopefully get involved, because it sounds like you've got such a wonderful tool there and a wonderful
yeah,
technique to help people release
yeah,
some, release some of the harder emotions that sometimes it can be very hard to verbalize, as we were
absolutely.
saying. And
Mm,
I think writing again is such an incredible way to get things out in a way that can be a lot less hurtful for yourself,
exactly.
for others,
Yeah.
and in a way where you can just kind of process it
Hmm.
and not have to worry about the repercussions so much.
No, exactly. I
So,
mean, I mean, when you
yeah,
do these things, when you're doing writing, I mean, it can open up, Pandora's box. It
yeah,
can. It can bring back a lot of memories. It can bring back things you don't want to relive, you know.
yeah,
But by building everything up inside and keeping everything buried, you
mm,
can't move forward.
no, no, I
You
completely
can't
agree
move
with that.
forward if it's all just sitting there, festering
Yeah,
away inside of you. So I mean, this can be for anybody, if you've had a relationship breakup, if you've gone through an illness or something, um, even the loss of a loved one,
yeah,
but with that, I must say, with the loss of a loved one, I mean, I lost my daughter, so
mm,
it doesn't mean you're letting go of your loved one. It just means you're releasing the pain,
yeah,
and the sadness that you feel, or that you felt. It doesn't mean to say at all. I must stress that it does not mean to say that you're releasing and letting go of them
yeah,
at
sure.
all. It really isn't. You can write a letter to them, just saying, how it made you feel them passing away, and
Yeah,
things like that. Just it's releasing how you feel.
yeah, and sometimes people like to use the example of writing it all down and burning it as
That's
well.
in my course. That's in my
Eh,
course.
all right. I won't go into that too much then.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I find that quite useful
Yeah.
to myself personally at times as well.
Yeah.
And it's something that you can use. If you want to
Mm,
just kind of get it all down and get rid of it,
yeah.
you can feel that sense of relief, can't you? You can feel that sense of,
Exactly.
oh, it's
Yeah.
gone. I don't have to
Yeah.
worry about that
That's
anymore.
exactly. That's the
Yeah,
whole part of the letting go bit,
yeah,
is when so you're releasing it by the writing, and then you're
yeah.
letting it go through the burning. Or
That's
there
great.
are other alternatives if can't find a safe place to do that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's in the
definitely.
course as well. So yeah, it's a wonderful thing.
Wonderful. I've actually thought of another example of it was kind of a writing that I did at one point. It's I don't know how you would put this
Hmm.
in more technical terms, but you write a letter to your future self
Yeah.
and to the things that you want them to know, and
Hmm.
then also from an older age, you look back at, say, your 18-year-old self
Mm.
or your 12-year-old self,
Yeah.
however far back you want to go, and the things that you would tell them,
Yeah.
the things that you would want them to know, the things that you would say forgive them for, or the things that
Hmm.
you would say, don't worry, it's all going to be okay, actually, because
Yeah.
believe it or not, after this point, X, Y, and Z happens. you know?
Absolutely.
And I think
absolutely.
that's wonderful. I think that's a really wonderful thing that we
Mm,
can think about every so
yeah,
often.
but
Writing a
that's
letter to your
yeah,
past self to tell
hmm,
them this is how far you've
yeah,
come, and
exactly.
writing a letter to your future self to say this is what I'm going to achieve, or this
Mm,
is what I can envisage for my future.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then you can have that goal in mind, can't you?
absolutely, yeah. But as again, that's the power of writing. That's the
Yeah,
power of the written word. You
beautiful,
know,
isn't it?
it really is. And when, as I said earlier, you know, when it's actually you doing that writing, it makes you feel so empowered. It really
It does.
does. And it also helps you gain back control.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
helps you gain back control of your thoughts and your feelings, not
yeah.
what somebody else has told you isn't right
Mm,
or isn't. Do you know what I mean? It's
mm.
you can take control of all
Yeah,
of
it's like
that.
your voice in your head becomes the narrator, doesn't it, for the story?
Yeah, yeah,
Just to jump in here, I want to say good morning to Kerry. Thank you ever so much for being here, my lovely. And good evening from Australia. That is Julie Bailey. Thank you ever so much for jumping in also. We do appreciate people being here and getting involved in the comments. If you do have any questions for either of us, please drop them down there as well. We'd be happy to answer them and do our best to try and find some sort of um, yeah, logical explanation for things. Sometimes we can get some very interesting questions that get us thinking. But yeah, please do get involved. It's always great to see people. Um, so, Jenny, just going back to that, you said an example of a time when it really helped you writing
yeah,
was the loss of your daughter.
yeah.
Um, and I'm very sorry to hear about that. Must have been absolutely devastating.
That's fine.
What part of it per se did you find um, really began to help the healing process? Was it doing it continuously? Was it at a certain point of that? You
Yeah,
know,
well, what happened
what
was
did you?
it was only actually what started me with the writing was
Yeah,
actually going through. I was diagnosed with MS
yeah,
about 12 years ago, and I went through, you know, really dark stage, depression and everything. You know, it was just a
sure.
horrible, horrible time. It really was. I had to give up my successful business. You know, I was a mobile beauty therapist. Obviously, I couldn't do that anymore because I was just so tired all the time.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, it was like a real blow. It really was a real blow to me.
mm,
Um, so it was through a friend of mine actually introduced me to
mm,
meditation,
cool.
and that is how my journey into writing really began because I had a spiritual awakening, if you like.
Yeah,
And that is when my journey began. I got into writing and everything, and it was a real shock and surprise to me because my educational background was really, really poor, like really
mm,
poor. I had no qualifications or anything. So um, becoming a writer all of a sudden
yeah,
was like really quite amazing. And that's how my journey began. That's how my journey began with the writing and everything. And it helped me to heal emotionally. You know, it gave me emotional healing. And it wasn't until actually 2 years ago that I actually wrote the book about my daughter and what happened with her and everything. Now,
yeah,
my daughter died, 30 years ago now, but it's only been the last couple of years where I was being interviewed on another show and my daughter came up. I don't know even know how that happened, but it obviously was meant to be. And it was then that I got the inspiration to actually tell my story of my
yeah,
loss and my experiences, just you know, so that I could help others on their journey that have been through
mm,
loss as well. But after 30 years, I thought that my healing was done, you know, after because it's
yeah,
been so long. But it wasn't until I actually started writing it all down.
mm,
And as I say, the memories came back and everything that I thought, no, my healing hasn't been complete at all, you know.
yeah,
But it wasn't until I finished actually writing the book that, yeah, my heart completely lifted. And, you know, and it was like she was sitting next to me all the time I was writing it,
mm,
you know, giving me her blessing and everything. Um, And that's how, I believe that it could help other bereaved parents,
Yeah, I think
on
that's
their journey.
beautiful. It's
Yeah,
beautiful to
and
think as well that you felt you had your daughter sitting there beside you going, "It's okay, Mum.
yeah.
You're ready to do this
Oh,
now."
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. She was my strength, if you like, whilst I was
mm,
actually writing it. So yeah, as I say, it's just to help other people, to say,
mm,
it's okay to, have all these feelings that you have and everything. It's
yeah,
okay. And it's okay to actually talk about it as well. And it's okay to write about it. I'm
yeah,
not saying you have to
exactly.
write a book or anything like that, but just writing your thoughts and your feelings again, sort of
Yeah.
like just writing them all down and getting that out of your system.
I think that's a very, very powerful point you just made as well, because instead of it being like, that chapter's done, it's
Yeah.
never really done, is it?
No,
It's never really closed. But
no.
what it is it's you at various points of that healing journey,
Mm,
being able to look back now, um, in a different frame of mind to how you would have looked back at it when it first occurred.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
And the healing journey is what you go on,
Hmm.
for ultimately the rest of your life, isn't it?
Of course. Of
It's
course. Yeah.
learning to process it. It's learning
Hmm.
to get to a point of being able to say, you know, that that has now been fully um, sorted in my mind, and I've
Yeah.
fully gone through all my feelings, my thoughts on the matter, and getting it down into a book, is such
Mm,
a brave thing to do. As much as it is, like you say, giving someone else the opportunity to know
yeah.
that it's okay that you are feeling like this.
Mm,
It's okay that you're at another point of that journey,
yeah.
but you are going to be all right. Ultimately, it's
Exactly.
giving that
Absolutely.
reassurance, isn't it?
Yeah. I think, sort of any sort of like grieving process or healing process, there's no time limit on these things. You
Yeah,
know, they happen when they're ready to happen and when you're
yeah,
ready for them to happen. So there is no time limit on it whatsoever.
that's great.
It took me 30 years,
Yeah,
so I mean, I've never had a problem talking about her or anything like
good.
that, but it never even crossed my mind to write about it, to be
Yeah,
totally honest with you. As I say, it's just through another thing happening that, it got me inspired to do that.
it's wonderful. So we have a question from Kerry. Thank you ever so much, Kerry. And Kerry has asked, what does mental health mean to you both? He always puts me on the spot with this one.
Yeah. Oh, mental
um,
health is it's a huge thing now, isn't it? I mean, it always
yeah,
has been. It always has been a huge thing, and I think it's just recent years it's come to light a bit more now, hasn't it? And I think mental health is just again, it's another process, isn't it? It's another
mm,
process that we go through. Something that we feel we have no control over.
mm,
Um, but you can get control over it as well,
mm,
um, in your own ways. But mental health, yeah, is a huge. That's one of the reasons why I done this course as well, was to
mm,
help people with their mental health. Because
yeah,
people just hold on to so much stuff
mm,
that it doesn't do your mental health, your well-being any good. It really doesn't. Um,
mm,
I've been there myself, so I know what
yeah.
it's like.
I think it's interesting as well, because one thing I've come to realise over the years is that the more you hold on to, it's almost
Mm,
like toxic energy, isn't it? The more you hold on to it,
yeah,
the more it comes up elsewhere.
exactly.
So you either, on a mental level, on a connection level, keep repeating the same mistakes
Mm,
until you've learnt the lesson,
yeah,
or you tend to feel it somewhere physically. So you tend to have
yeah,
pain, or um,
yeah.
indigestion issues, or
Hmm.
problems with your gut. Like, it's interesting how much, obviously, our bodies are completely connected.
They
Our
certainly
heads are
are.
connected to our bodies.
Yeah.
It's no surprise that if something's going on up here, you're going to feel it somewhere else.
Oh, 100% you are. definitely.
And I think that that's definitely something that's come to light for me a lot more
Mm.
over the last few years,
Yeah.
because I've been a lot more consciously aware about where I hold my stress.
Hmm.
And even though I may not be someone, I'm not really someone who consciously and visibly stresses. I don't do that at all. But I feel aches and pains in my body,
Yeah,
and then I can go, I think I'm a little bit stressed.
exactly.
So
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm aware of it, and it's something that, once you are aware of where you're
Mm.
holding it, specifically my shoulders,
Yeah.
so I feel them doing this, or
Mm.
aches and pains or whatever, and it it's great because you can actually consciously acknowledge that and move forward and say, right, I
Exactly.
need to go and spend 5 minutes, or I need to go and write something down, or do a
Hmm.
meditation, or whatever it is,
Yeah.
excuse me, that's going to help.
Yeah.
So
I think sort of like with emotional healing can
yeah,
also give you physical healing as
yeah,
well,
I like
you
that.
know. So once you can get through the emotional part of it, you will find, as you
Yeah,
say, your body will just change in a different way.
yeah, I do like
It'll be more relaxed. Yeah, I'm not saying that you're, sort of like what you got one is going to disappear, um, but it will make you, yeah, it will make you be able to deal with it a lot better.
yeah, I like that. Oh my goodness, feeling so much more relaxed just listening to you. Yeah, you got a really calming tone to your voice.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
that's all right. And obviously, what does mental health mean to me? Mental health to me is a very, very complex subject.
Mm,
Um, your mental health encompasses a lot of things. It's um, not only, your self-esteem, your self-worth, but your mind's ability to process information. If that is stunted in some way, then that can, act towards mental
mm,
health. There are so many things that come into mental health. It's such a complex subject. But to
absolutely.
me, the most important component of that is keeping symptoms, keeping
Mm,
independence and things like that manageable, so that you can live the best quality of life possible.
yeah,
And it really comes down to, there are a lot of people in the world who have some form of either ill mental health or some form of, challenge.
yeah.
And that could be absolutely anything that prevents them from living a full life.
Hmm.
But there are also people in the world who have an enormous amount of challenges, who
Yeah,
have a very full life. It's the quality of that life
exactly.
that you really need to, you need to be aware of.
Yeah.
Is someone able to make decisions for themselves? Is someone able to, manage their
Mm,
um, emotional state, or do they
yeah.
need a bit more support with it?
Hmm.
It's a lot of things, and I could go on forever about what
Yeah,
mental health means to me. But ultimately, the idea behind mental health is to keep everything in as much of a balance as possible,
exactly.
so we can live fruitful, full, and enjoyable lives. You
Exactly.
know?
Exactly. Yeah, and I think it's finding your own way, isn't it, of
Yeah,
coping with that and managing that.
yeah.
Everyone has their own different ways of doing these things.
Mm,
Um, yeah,
it's true. It's true. It's very true. And some things work for some people that don't necessarily work for others.
that's right. That's right. I
And
think
it
that's
comes
why
down
you.
to the kind of interest that people have.
Mm,
If they're being told, excuse me, swimming's going to help with your mental
yeah.
state, because it's going to give your body something to focus on,
Mm,
and it's going to enable you to relax in an environment that is comfortable for you.
yeah.
That could work wonderfully for one person.
Hmm.
And um, aquatherapy and things like that are incredible tools and incredible
Yeah.
things that people really get a lot from. But the next person might think, oh no, I really like being wet.
No. Exactly. Exactly.
I'd rather stay somewhere a little bit more, you
Mm,
know, comfortable for me. And
yeah.
they might find that sitting reading a book is a lot more enjoyable for them, and taking notes of all the little things that they've learnt from each chapter.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's what works for that person.
Yeah. It's always a way of adapting things, isn't there? You know,
Yeah.
sort of, and I think it's getting in the right mindset as well. You know,
Yeah,
if you get
definitely.
yourself in the right mindset, which isn't easy for a lot of people to do.
Mm.
But I think once you can do that, it really does help um, move you along, you know, with other,
Yeah, I agree.
you know, going through the process of whatever it is you're going through.
Yeah. It might sound a bit like, I don't know, cliche, but a growth mindset is something that people
Definitely.
need to foster when it comes
Mm,
to, working out what the next steps are.
yeah,
Because sometimes I've met people along their journey that've gotten to a point of, I can't do this anymore. I really can't. I'm fed up with myself. I keep going
yeah,
around in circles about the same thing. And I just want you to help me. So,
mm,
okay. Well, have you tried this instead? Have you tried looking at it from a different angle? Or have you
yeah,
tried taking different actions to actually prevent you from going around in the same circles?
mm,
And it's about breaking that down for people and asking them ultimately, why do you think you keep repeating this behavior? What is it doing to serve you?
yeah,
Um, and why are you choosing to do these things that are harmful for you when you don't
exactly.
want to do them anymore?
Mm.
So it's excuse me, it's very interesting. I'm really losing my voice. So
That's all right. I mean, that's one of the reasons as well, you know, as of doing this course as well, is
yeah.
because, you know, sort of it gives people that opportunity to write down what they're thinking that, and you know, so they're not in doing it in a harmful way, so they're not harming
Yeah,
themselves or anybody else, you know, they're sort of like, just it's just a matter of just getting things off your chest, basically, isn't it? You know, but
it is. Yeah,
you're writing it down instead of sort of like, you know, expressing it verbally to someone, which is
yeah,
the
yeah.
best way to do it. It is the best way to go. um but writing is just a really good thing to do, you know, and I think the more that you do it as well, the easier it becomes. It doesn't matter
Mm.
if you can spell properly or not, you know, it doesn't
As long
matter
as you know what it
how,
says.
doesn't matter how you write it down,
No.
you know, it really doesn't matter at all, as long as you're
Mm.
releasing it, as long as you're
Yeah,
releasing it and getting it, you know, off your chest, you know,
definitely.
from here to the paper, you know.
Yeah,
And I
it's
say as
like
well,
downloading it.
absolutely, 100% it is, yeah. But I always
That's
try
good.
and say as well, you know, sort of try not to do these things on the computer,
Okay.
because pen and paper is, it's the old-fashioned way, but it is a fabulous way. Like with journaling,
Yeah.
we all have a journal, you know, and we write it in a journal, we write it in a diary.
Mm.
There's something there that is just so, it's very therapeutic. Writing is very therapeutic.
It is.
I'm not saying don't write it on the computer, because you know a lot of people do only use computers these days, and most of my writing's done on the computer. But when it comes to things like that, releasing your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions,
Mm.
actually writing it down on paper is a fabulous way.
Yeah, I love that as well. We've got a LinkedIn user. Unfortunately, we can't see their name. I think you can give StreamYard permission to see your name, but thank you. Yeah. Ultimately, agreeing that writing is very therapeutic.
Yeah.
And I've found it myself as well. I tend to process things by writing things down.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And thinking it through and actually just dumping it all down on paper
Hmm.
when I'm having a very thoughtful moment,
Yeah.
and then I can look back and be like, actually, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
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 Or, oh, I'm
It
glad
is,
I got
isn't
that
it?
off my
It's,
chest.
yeah, it's like
You
mind
know.
dumping, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
you are just getting rid of it all, you know, stuff that no longer serves you, stuff that don't need to be there, you
Mm,
know, and we carry a lot of this ourselves. Do you know what I mean? It's
yeah.
ourselves that, you know, sort of keep it up there, you know, because we're either too afraid to let it go, we've been told that you're not allowed to do anything like that.
Mm,
You know, but no, you know, you do, I think doing these things is just so releasing. It's so releasing. It's so helpful for people. It really is.
Yeah,
As I
definitely.
say, you might be dragging up a lot of stuff you don't want to drag up, but I think it's better to be out than in, to be
Yeah,
honest.
it's always
That's
better to let it
my
out, isn't
belief
it?
anyway. It's better to be out than in.
Better out
So
than in.
yeah.
That's a good one. That's a very good one.
Mm.
I won't say what else I've applied it to, but yeah. That's a very good one. And yeah, thank you ever so much for really going into that in a lot more detail as well, because I think it's important for people to understand that it's okay if you choose to write things down instead of
Yep,
talking.
it is.
You can actually, like you've done, Jenny, write an entire book if you really had that much you wanted to get down.
Exactly.
And you can plan it out, you can structure it, you can turn it into your
Yeah,
own flipping success story.
that's
Then,
right. That's right.
have another story to tell that
Yeah,
ultimately, when you feel a state of readiness, you can share with the world. But
exactly. It's just another outlet, It's just
yeah, it is.
another outlet to use to help you sort of like, release your,
Mm.
what you're going through or what you've been through. Um, and there's no judgment either, I mean, sort of through this course as well, I say there's no judgment whatsoever. There's no
No.
one sitting there saying to you, well, no, you don't write that because that's not right. That's not the way it is. That's not the way it should. You've got none of that. You're doing
Mm.
exactly what you want
Judgment.
to do.
Mm.
Nobody's behind you telling you you can't.
But
You
no,
can. I always say to my kids, no such thing as can't. You
that's true.
can,
That's a good one. Definitely, I believe in that too.
you can do these things. Might take you a bit longer than other people
Mm.
sometimes, but you can do it. You
Yeah,
really can.
definitely. And it can even come down to the little things as well. I keep a pad of paper by the bed at night. And if I start thinking about an idea of something I can put together, I'll be like, oh, get that one down.
Yeah,
Or, like if I've got something on my mind, I'm like, oh, I really should look into that tomorrow. Write that one
exactly.
down. There
Yeah,
are so many things that whiz around our heads on a daily basis. It is
absolutely.
absolute madness, isn't it,
Yeah,
sometimes?
yeah.
That you
I mean, it's
think, well,
even,
actually,
yeah,
organising those thoughts and putting them down so you can create an action plan from them
mm,
is also another incredible way of getting them out, isn't it?
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I mean, another good thing as well is, but I say this about writing anyway, is keep a little notepad or something by your bed.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's been many a time I've been woken up silly hours with, things going around in my head and what have you. And it's just another way of just letting it go. You don't, go back and have a nice peaceful sleep once you've got it out of your head, sort of thing,
Yeah, yeah.
But it's, yeah, just keep, a notepad or a big piece of paper and a pen just by the bedside.
Well, that's
Um,
cathartic as well. You can write it
it
down and be
is.
like, oh, I'll just look at that tomorrow. Doesn't matter at the moment. I'm sleeping.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. Yeah, you might have be inspired to do something, you think, oh, I better write that down because I know I'm going to forget that when I wake up.
Yeah,
So
yeah, definitely.
it's, with anything, so writing is a fabulous tool. It
It
really
is.
is a wonderful tool to have.
We've got again, sorry, LinkedIn user who has shared with us, I'm a writer, so I enjoy writing. Last year I had a stroke and writing was a source of comfort for me because I could process my emotions on a deeper level.
Absolutely.
I completely agree. I think
100%.
you can look at things and be like, well, this is how I feel now, and
Hmm.
this is how I feel further down the journey. I can
Yeah.
understand why I feel like this.
Hmm.
There's going to be a
Yeah.
number of frustrations, of doubts,
Exactly.
of
Yeah.
maybe self-worth issues that come up,
Hmm.
but you can look back and be like, I can
Yeah.
understand why I was feeling like that.
Yeah. That's why it's good to, have a journal because
Yeah.
you'd be at one stage of your life and you can write down, it might not look very good. But then
Mm.
when you go further down the line, as you say, and you write and you can look back and think, oh my gosh, I really have come a long way
Yeah,
since
yeah,
then, So that's why, sort of I encourage people to just continue writing every day. Just so that you can see your own progress as you
yeah,
go along.
exactly that. It's progress. Every
Yeah,
step of that journey is progress.
exactly.
Sometimes it might feel like you take 5 steps forward, 3 steps back,
Yeah,
but it's all progress,
it is.
isn't it?
It is.
So one day you can look back on it, as Jenny was rightfully saying, and go, wow, look how far I've actually come.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's an empowering thing as well, because if you've
absolutely.
made that much progress from where you were at a particular point in time, where you probably thought, oh, I can't deal with this anymore, or this is too much for me,
Yeah,
and then you look back at how far you've actually come along the
exactly.
journey,
Yeah.
you realize, wow, I'm a lot stronger than I once gave myself credit for.
That's
It's
absolutely
empowering.
right. Yeah, it is empowering. It's very
Yeah,
empowering, and it gives you sort of I think once you sort of like feel that empowerment as well, it helps you with your confidence.
it
You
does.
know, it helps you be more brave. Um, just it just gives you a better sense of life, I think.
Yeah, I like that. And it makes you look at life in a different way as well.
It really does.
Because the way I've found, journaling, blogging, writing quick
Yeah.
pieces, is that I've looked at the world as a much bigger
Mm,
picture, and I've stopped necessarily focusing on myself
yeah.
as the main topic, and started looking at, do you know what, today was a good day because I went out for a walk.
Yeah.
The world is a beautiful place. I've got lovely scenery around me. It
Hmm.
was a nice day today. And you begin to look at things on a larger scale,
Yeah.
don't you? And you begin to look at all the little things that you're grateful for,
Absolutely.
in every day,
Mm.
when you
Gratitude's a big thing. It
gratitude,
really
yeah.
is a big thing, gratitude. And I always believe that, sort of once you have gratitude, you have everything really,
Yeah,
because we have so much to be grateful for. We really
we
do. And
do.
I don't think a lot of people realize that. But
Mm,
just waking up in the morning, that's the biggest gratitude you can have, waking up to another day. Um, but yeah, I know some people probably may not feel like that are going through really dreadful times and everything.
yeah.
But yeah. Even the gratitude journal is a really good thing to have as well.
Mm. I think
Um,
that's a wonderful thing as well.
mm,
Wonderful name for a gratitude journal.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
beautiful in itself. If you write down every
exactly.
single day the things that you're grateful for,
Mm,
I'm grateful for the first cup of coffee in the morning, which I'm
yeah,
always grateful for, by the way.
yeah,
I'm, excuse me, I'm grateful for having my lovely animals. I'm grateful for having
mm,
my lovely partner. I'm grateful
exactly.
for so much that
Mm,
sometimes you kind of overlook.
you do, you do. I mean, you can be grateful for the smallest of things. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be a great big thing that you have to be grateful for. It's just the smallest of things. Um, yeah.
Oh, I love this. This is such a wonderful conversation, Jenny. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for
And
having
thank you
me.
so much for sharing your story and for sharing everything that you've been so proudly working on. You can tell
Mm,
there's a lot of love and there's a lot of care and attention that's gone into every single detail of what you've told us about your course.
yeah. I
And
think because, yeah, I think I just want to help you. I mean, I've been there.
yeah,
I've been there. I know what it's like. Um,
yeah,
and I just want to help other people as well. Even if it's just a tiny bit, just to help somebody, sort of put a smile on their face or something,
yeah. Make a
just to
difference.
absolutely
Make a
100%
difference in their
make a
day.
difference. You really do to make a difference to people's lives.
Mm,
And yeah, and just to try and be as happy as you can be,
I love
you
that.
know.
Oh, you've made me happy. You've made me
Thank you.
smile from the inside.
Thank you.
Just being here talking to you, it's wonderful. Another comment we have down here, again, sorry, it says LinkedIn user. Excuse me. I agree. I've learned to give myself more grace. Sometimes I've intellectually processed quickly, but experienced emotional processing later, especially after having a stroke. However, I have learned that this is okay because sometimes that is a part of the healing process. You have no idea how much I relate to that.
Mm, yeah,
No idea whatsoever. I have an ability to process information very quickly, just like you
yeah,
said yourself. but the emotional processing of something after it's
Mm,
happened is usually a much more elongated process.
absolutely, yeah.
And wow, thank you so much for dropping that comment down there. That
Mm.
that that's just made me feel like someone else gets it.
Yeah, that's
Someone
right,
else gets the way my
absolutely.
mind works.
Yeah. As I say, but we all do process things in a very
Yeah,
different way, don't we? You know, we have our own ways of processing stuff.
yeah, we do, 100%.
Mm.
And they've also said thank you for sharing your story.
Oh, it's my
Yeah,
pleasure. It's my pleasure.
yeah, absolutely. I think it's so important um, for people to be able to share their story, and for people to
It
be able
is.
to feel like they are in a safe place.
Yeah.
And we want to hear about other people's experiences.
Mm.
We welcome people to come on and
Yeah.
talk about whatever it is that they
Yeah.
like you know
Mm. I think
um
I think when you've experienced something yourself,
yeah,
um, other people can relate to that more, you know,
definitely.
because you've actually experienced. It's not like you've just looked it up in a book or you've learned from a book or something like that. Your
Yeah,
own experience in life is that's very powerful for other people as well. So I
it
believe
is.
anyway that when we have these experiences, it's good to share. It is
Yeah,
good to share because you know you might by what you're saying, you might have just saved someone's life. Do you know what I mean? You might have,
yeah,
really helped that person
it's so
just by
powerful.
saying one word or something, and they
Yeah,
know that, yeah, I'm not alone. That's the thing,
yeah, they do.
I am not alone. Other people have been through this or are going through this.
And I think certainly with you saying that, Jenny, I think that there was a real point in my journey where I felt like no one's ever going to understand this.
Yeah.
No one's ever going to understand exactly what I'm experiencing. How
Mm.
on earth am I supposed to start talking about it? Because I don't know where to flipping start.
Yeah.
I just sound like I've lost my mind.
Mm.
Um, but once I began the healing part of that process, and once I had enough knowledge behind me to start to be able to say, okay, I understand what I experience now, and
Yeah.
I understand how to, um, use certain coping mechanisms to move forward. And admittedly, it took some medication as well, but
Yeah.
that made such a difference to me. I began to feel like actually there's got to be someone out there who will understand,
Mm.
and there's got to be someone out there who will, take something from the story that I have to tell.
Yeah.
So I began to open up about it a lot more, and I
Hmm.
began to be a lot more forefront about saying, yeah, I did have this experience. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
flipping horrible, but what I've learned from it is how much more of a rounded person I am and how much stronger I am in myself.
Exactly.
And I'm now able to bring that forward
Hmm.
as a result.
Yeah.
And again, it's a process. It took me about 2 or 3 years to be able to
Hmm.
actually confidently say, here I am. This is what I
Yeah.
have to talk about. And this
Yeah.
is why I'm able to give an opinion
Exactly.
on this subject.
Hmm.
Yeah. And some mental health warriors have just said, now you're a warrior. So yeah, now I'm a warrior as well. It's just amazing how things develop.
Yeah, exactly. You are. Absolutely. I think we're
Yeah.
all warriors when we've, when we've been through, sort of
Yeah.
really challenging times, really
Oh,
difficult
definitely.
times. And, sort of there is a light at the end of the tunnel,
Yeah.
there really is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's just
Definitely.
getting there. It's just going through that process of actually getting there.
Yeah. And about
And
understanding that this is the journey that you have
mm,
to be going through. It's not going to be pretty every single day. It's not going to
absolutely
be
not.
easy every single day.
No.
But being on this journey is what's getting you to the destination
Mhm.
of feeling like I did it.
100%. 100%. Yeah, yeah.
So
I know when we
yeah.
go through these things, and we do feel we are the only one who is going through that.
Yeah.
We're the only
When it's
person that
happening.
this is happening to. And it's not, sort of like, as I say, you're not alone. There are many, many people out there
Mm,
who are experiencing the same thing as you or going
yeah.
through the same experiences as you. And I think that can be a great comfort at times when you actually realize, well, I'm not on my own. I really
Mm,
ain't on my own. And it's nothing to be ashamed about or anything like that. It really isn't. Um,
No, I think you put it so beautifully.
thank you.
Don't be ashamed. You
No,
know,
don't.
you will always
Never
have
be
someone that you can
ashamed.
talk to.
Yeah, never be ashamed. No.
No, definitely not. And it's ultimately what makes people up to be the people that they are, isn't it? You know, I think you can learn an awful lot from going through some incredible struggles and, you know, getting to rock bottom and coming out the other side. There is a
Yeah,
lot to be learned from that.
of course there is.
Um,
Of course there is.
and it's almost, I know it doesn't feel like it at the time. It feels like the worst thing ever, but it can be an incredibly empowering journey once you realize
Yeah.
that actually you were giving away a lot of your power, or you
Hmm.
were allowing the wrong people to influence you in your life.
Exactly.
And once you
That's
overcome those sort of
yeah.
struggles, you know, you don't look back and go, ugh. You look
No.
back and go, wow, wow.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what I was saying earlier. It's about taking back your own control.
Yeah,
You know, it's
absolutely.
taking that back. You know, don't never ever give your power to anybody else.
No, you're the lead
Because
character in your life. You are the
exactly.
leading character, the
Absolutely.
main character. You're the one you
Exactly.
have to look after first.
Yeah. Yeah.
So beautiful. I'll tell you what, Jenny, we could sit here and talk for hours, I can tell. I can totally tell. I absolutely love talking to you. Thank you
Thank you.
so much for coming on the show today and sharing your wonderful story and sharing everything that you're up to at the moment, because
That's
I
my
do
pleasure.
genuinely think there's an awful lot of benefit to be had there
Thank you.
from the course that
Thank you for
you've
having me. You know, thank
created.
you for giving me the opportunity as well, you
Yeah,
know, to sort of like to share, you know,
my
to share
pleasure.
my experiences with other people as well.
Yeah, my pleasure, absolutely. So as you've said before, there are ways to get in contact with you.
I will put
And
the
you're going to
links
drop
in,
some
yeah.
links down below afterwards,
Yeah.
aren't you? So that'll be absolutely fantastic. So I'm sure people will be interested to look into what you're doing and get in
Thank you.
contact. Thank you ever so much, the Mental Health Warriors, saying amazing show, ladies. It's always appreciated. And I believe, as long as I remember to do the little video thing at the end, that should be everything. Still getting used to doing these, honestly. I
You've
just
done a
love having the
great job.
conversations, and I'm like, don't forget to do this later. So thank you ever so much again, Jenny. Have a wonderful
Thank
rest of
you.
your day, everyone, or evening, depending on where you are in the world. And thank you ever so much again for joining another Mental Health Warriors video with myself, Claire, the Reboot Catalyst, and my wonderful guest today, Jenny Ford, who has been an absolute delight.
Thank you for
Take
having
care,
me.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.